The Biden administration is set to release this new top secret intelligence report on the 2018 murder of journalist Jamal Khashoggi. The new public summary is expected to blame the Saudi crown prince, his name is Mohammed bin Salman, for proving Khashoggi's murder in Turkey. Khashoggi, was a prominent critic of the kingdom and a well-known contributor at the Washington Post. And this all comes as President Biden looks to reevaluate America's relationship with the kingdom, and Weijia Jiang takes a closer look.
A security camera captured the last time journalist Jamal Khashoggi was seen alive, entering the Saudi consulate in Istanbul in October 2018, where he was killed and dismembered by a hit squad, his fiancée waiting unknowingly outside.
He was my best friend. He was the love of my life.
Khashoggi was a fierce critic of Saudi leadership, and the murderers were linked to Saudi Arabia's crown prince, Mohammed bin Salman, who rules Saudi Arabia on behalf of his father, the king. He denied knowing about the operation to CBS Evening News anchor and managing editor Norah O'Donnell during an interview for 60 Minutes.
How did you not know about this operation?
Some think that I should know what 3 million people working for the Saudi government do daily. It's impossible that the 3 million would send their daily reports to the leader or the second highest person in the Saudi government.
But in 2018, the CIA assessed that not only did the crown prince know about the killing, he ordered Khashoggi's execution. The murder led to international outrage. Former President Trump sanctioned 17 Saudis for Khashoggi's murder, but he did not broadly punish the crown prince or Saudi Arabia, a strategic ally for the United States.
All right, so Weijia Jiang is joining us now from the White House. Weijia, I guess the first question is, it was already kind of accepted that the Crown Prince was aware of this murder, was instrumental in the murder. So how will this new report change that narrative? What new information are we going to find out?
Well, that is a great question because we haven't really been able to confirm independently what's expected to be in this report. But Reuters has said that it will draw a direct link between MBS and the murder and that he ordered it, which, as you pointed out, the CIA already assessed that there was a medium or high chance of that happening. What was missing was any sort of smoking gun, if you will, any sort of direct evidence, even though they were able to draw this conclusion. So, you know, if it turns out that that is in this report, it will make it even harder for President Biden not to take action against the Crown Prince and against the kingdom in a broader sense, which we already expect, because when he was on the campaign trail, he said he was going to do exactly that. He promised that senior leaders there would, quote, pay the price and be made out to be the pariahs that they are. But it's a little different now because he is president, and of course he has to maintain the relationship with Saudi Arabia, and so he's going to have to strike that balance by, making sure they are held accountable and also moving forward to work with them to continue the efforts to fight terrorism.
So, Weijia, let's look at the big picture. As you know, the Biden administration has already suspended military aid to the kingdom because of the war in Yemen, and we know that the president is set to hold a call with the king this week. Are we waiting to see what the report says, and that will dictate how President Biden and the king hold this call and what potentially could come out in the readout? I guess the president has already seen the report, so really the report is only set to be released to us.
Correct. Yesterday, President Biden said that he has read it and he expects to speak with the king soon about it. But your question, Vlad, is what we are all waiting to see because, you know, the order seems to matter here, because if you publicly release the data and then you, show what the president said during the conversation, there might be a lot of questions about what he didn't say. And so if he, has the conversation and then we find out what was in the report, there will be different set of questions, right? About, whether or not, at the end of the day, whether or not he was tough enough on the king to relay the message that he was going to likely issue new sanctions against his son and against the country. So again, it's this really delicate dance because even though, as you pointed out, Vlad, we have stopped support of the Saudis in the Yemen war, the administration has also pledged to continue to support Saudi Arabia because it is an important base there as the U.S. continues to try to curb terrorism, especially when it comes to Iran. And we know that President Biden is going to maintain a hard line on Iran, as he has said. And so he needs the Saudi support there. So it's a tough position for President Biden, but he has made clear, along with his press secretary and other administration officials, that they are going to take action, or they're going to send a strong message, at the least, to Saudi Arabia when it comes to the murder of Jamal Khashoggi.
Well, switching gears a little bit, Weijia, we are still following the latest developments on Capitol Hill surrounding President Biden's budget chief nominee, Neera Tanden. She is facing bipartisan opposition over past tweets at Republicans and even past tweets at some progressive Democrats. White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki addressed this controversy yesterday. We're going to play some sound.
We're fighting for her nomination, and she and our team remain in close contact and close touch with senators and key constituency groups. She's an expert whose qualifications are critical during this time of an unprecedented crisis. And she has rolled up her sleeves. She's very engaged in doing outreach to senators, to members on the Hill, answering any questions they have and offering to do that, and we're doing the same.
So, Weijia, what's the latest on this? They need every single Democrat to support this nominee. Last check, Joe Manchin, a Democrat, was not so crazy about it. What do we know?
Right. So they are pointing out that all they need now is one Republican. The problem is that several moderate Republicans have already come out to say it's not going to be me. So it looks like the only remaining one that could offer support for Tanden is Lisa Murkowski. And she is the name that everybody is focused on right now. We know that the White House has reached out to her. There have been conversations. We don't know whether President Biden himself has called the senator to ask for her support of Tanden. But, as we heard, the press secretary has acknowledged that it is a numbers game. So at the end of the day, they need at least one Republican to come over. And it doesn't look like that's going to happen so far. And the chief of staff just last night said, look, we are going to get her confirmed. And he was very confident in saying that. But, when it comes to Tanden, the reason why there's so much baggage is because, as we have talked about before, the way she criticized people on Twitter. And we've also talked about how those tweets follow you. Well, there is one tweet that she did not delete, along with about 1,000 others before her hearings, and that was attacking who else but Lisa Murkowski, who tweeted, Lisa Murkowski tweeted that lowering the corporate tax rate is a critical component of this tax legislation and will allow American businesses to compete against foreign competitors. Well, Neera Tanden retweeted that and said, no offense, but this sounds like you're high on your own supply. You know, we know, and everyone knows this is all garbage. Just stop. So she has a way with words. Perhaps that's why she deleted many of her words that are now coming back to haunt her. But that still remains on Twitter. And it's just ironic because, again, as we just said, Murkowski is the one person who could probably help her become the head of the OMB.
So she is a very, very important constituent, and so we'll have to see how that all plays out. Wow, Weijia, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Sure.